welcome everybody. I want to introduce you Eric Goeres. Eric coaches business owners on achieving peace of mind through revenue and profitability. He coaches executives at multinational corporations, but especially enjoys working with creative small business owners with good intentions. Eric spent more than 20 years in New York City working in print and digital media, starting as a producer and retiring as a network president. He is responsible for the brand development of growth of some of the world's best-known publications, like Esquire, Men's Health, Women's Health, Entertainment Week, Road and Track, Ride Apart, Popular Mechanics, Best Life, and Organic Style, and the list goes on and on and on.
It does. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, amazing. He has worked for the News Corporation, Heart Magazines, Rodeo Press, US Web, CKS, Time Inc., and the Motorsport Network. And additionally, Eric was an adjunct professor at New York University, vice president of Society of Publication Designers, and is currently a member of ICF South Florida Outreach and Programming Committee. So we are so lucky to have you in the committee, and we are very lucky to have you here sharing your wisdom with us, Eric.
That's really sweet. That's really sweet. Thank you so much for that intro. You guys can tell I wrote that myself, and that is definitely web copy. I didn't realize that read so long and so bold. So thank you for indulging me in that, and I apologize for that. We're all trying to win clients, so we're all like, hey, I was, Anyway, thanks for being here. It's true. One thing I'll get into the presentation in a second. In fact, I'll jump into the presentation right now, but I'm really glad that you guys are here. It's a small group, so we can afford to be a little bit playful about this. It's a subject that I work with a lot with my clients, so it's easy for me to just speak off the cuff about it. So this isn't a fully rehearsed thing. As such, please feel free to jump in with questions. It's a small group, just go off mic and ask a question if you guys are curious or want to discuss as we go through this. Sound good? Cool. Then I'll go ahead and share a screen here and begin the presentation. Can everyone see that okay?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Great. So leading activities and scorecards. So I see this as, yes, a simple path to less anxiety, better sleep, and better business. Okay. So very quickly, we already did this with Valeska. Thank you, Valeska. The thing that I want to touch on is that I do executive coaching. I also do prefer working with small business owners who are doing creative things and are doing it from the heart and are doing it the right way. So that means sustainable, small, shop local, that kind of stuff. I coach towards, this is new this year, this is my third year of coaching. Before I just did generalized business coaching. By the third year, I realized that what my clients really needed was specific focus towards coaching to revenue and profitability, not because of greed, but because with that comes two things, comes peace of mind, and also comes the ability for these businesses to thrive. And so much of the anxiety that my clients are experiencing have to do with not knowing how their business is doing, not knowing where they are in the state of the business, not being able to sleep at night because they don't know where the money's going to come from, or the clients, or the whatever. So this year, and now we're 4 months into it, I sort of revamped my practice and said to my clients, hey guys, we're gonna start with revenue and profitability, and from there use that starting point to go figure out what are the mindset things that we need to shift, what are the limiting beliefs, what are the problems, what are the things that are getting in your way, but we're starting from the revenue and profitability and using that to solve everything else that allows it to feed back up into that, so that my business owners have what they need to keep their businesses afloat, right? The money, the gas in the tank to keep the business going. So it's not about greed, which I think is awesome, because so much of, hey, when we're talking about revenue and profitability, that means like, maximum profits. Well, it doesn't here. It's about maximum chill. It's about maximum, peace of mind. So just want to clarify that. That's who I am. That's my practice. So today's agenda, we're going to get into what's your problem. Lots of coaches on the call, if not all coaches. So this is a little bit tailored towards sort of coaching, as you'll see. But today is not necessarily about revenue or profitability, but it could be. Today is about changing a particularly nagging aspect of your business or your life, and then solving for that through a change in action and a change in accountability. So I'm going to ask you now, and I would, if people could go off mic, I think that would be great. Or if you want to do it in comments, if Valesky could read those out or whatever. What are some of the quantifiable things that bug you about your business or your life? Some examples might be, I don't have enough clients, or I don't have enough social interaction, or I don't go out to dinner enough, or I don't know, just something that's quantifiable. Would anyone care to go?
Marketing, communicating
So
around my practice.
Yeah, great. So maybe I'm not communicating enough. I'm not being proactive enough in communicating. This is something that keeps you up at night, Nana?
So you mean something that bothered me to do, or something that I lack doing?
A little bit of both. Philosophically, I'm looking for the things that, that keep us up at night, the things that, 3 o'clock in the morning, if I only had more clients, if I only had a bigger rate, Claudia, do you have a question? Oh yeah,
No,
please.
I wanted to
Sure.
I wanted to contribute.
Please.
I think I'm finding, or I don't have enough time to think about my business, like strategy wise, because I'm going from meeting to meeting, and then when I have the time, I'm so tired. So for me, it's like having at least 2 mornings, because I work better in the morning, to work on my business, on the strategy part, like what market do you want to reach? So I'm just in the eye of the hurricane all the time and not planning. That's the word.
Okay, so not planning. So Nada would like to do more marketing. Claudia would like to do more strategic thinking and planning about for business, the sort of working on the business as opposed to working in the business. Anyone else have any?
Yeah, we have in the chat, Jessica Wong said, enough leads, enough income. And
Yes.
I share both Jessica's concerns and Claudia's. I'm the same boat.
Yes, enough leads and enough income. Great examples. Yes, and we will address those. Letitia, Suli?
Yeah, for me, it's a sense of not enough clients, but it's more what keeps me up is the specific not having the plan of not just generalized marketing, but I'm a creative. And so for me, it's what is sustainable? What is going to keep me fueled to continue to show up and do it? What do I feel excited about that is also effective?
Thank you so much for that. I love that. And that's fantastic setup for where we're going today. Suli?
Yeah, for me, it's how to really funnel what I'm presenting to, the companies and leadership, because business is my background, and I'm introducing something quite new in a sense to really take care of the uncertainties that companies and workplace and people are facing. So that is how that's keeping me at night.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you for that. I think this will work for that as well. So thank you for those quantifiable things that bug you, that irritate you about your business. Go back to so thank you for those. That sets the stage. Here is our agenda. What is the purpose of this presentation? What is our unique and interesting solution? It comes in two parts. Part one is leading activities. That is the new kind of action that we will be discussing today. And part two is scorecards, which will be the new kind of accountability that we'll be discussing today. And we'll start with leading activities. The presentation is in two parts. Conceptually, it just works better this way. So we're going to discuss what leading activities are at this point, and then get into the scorecards. Leading activities. Set the stage by saying leading activities are influenceable, which I had to look up and see if that was actually a word. It is. Influenceable, predictable actions that drive success with pleasure and ease. Influenceable, meaning we can influence our control over them. Predictable, meaning that we know how to do them and we can anticipate what the results of doing them will be. Actions that drive success, things that motivate our business objectives, and doing so with pleasure and ease, right? Things naturally to us, things that we enjoy doing, things that just work for us, okay? Leading activity is a little bit deeper into this. The theory is based in, let's Shakti in here. The theory is based in the business concept of leading activities, leading indicators and leading activities versus lagging indicators and lagging activities. So I want you to think of these two different types of activities as, you're in the car and you've got the windshield in the rear view mirror. Okay. And lagging activities are all the things that are behind you, all the things in the rear view mirror, all things through the back window. In business, these lagging activities are things like how did we do against our objectives last month? Did we hit our goal last month? How did we do last week? Things like sales reports, profit and loss statements, tax returns, TV ratings, social media likes and replies. These are all things that we use to sort of judge effectiveness, but they're all behind us. They're all back there. The TV show has already aired, and now we can look back and see how it did. The social media post has been posted. 24 hours later, we can see how it did, right? A great one that I like is, how many fires did we fight last month? I mean, if we were like the fire chief, we were measuring effectiveness, that might be something we look at. Hey, I run a fire department. How many fires did we fight last month? And there's other examples, which I'll get to in a second. And then leading activities and leading indicators are things that are looking forward, right? It's 9 a.m. Leading activities are calls to make today, social media posts to make this week, windows to clean. This one, going back to our fire chief example, instead of how many fires did we fight last month, how many fire prevention classes will we teach this month, right? Forward thinking, forward action. The fire prevention classes, influenceable. If we make those classes really good, we will prevent fires. Predictable. If we actually go out there and we teach these classes, we will avoid fires, save lives, right? This is future action. So this is the strength of these leading actions, the very fact that they are predictive. We know how to do them, and they're predictive. We know what the results will be, and they're influenceable. We know how to do them, and we can do that. If anyone would care to share any examples on this, I'd be happy to entertain that. So some examples that I came up with are on this slide. And I would invite you to just sort of consider your life, your business, your happiness, your whatever. If you did some of these things on this list, right? Well, I mean, how would things be different in your business or your life if you posted 20 times in social this week? If you cooked at home twice or emailed 15 old friends? One of my favorites is the first one, plant 50 flowers. I mean, what would that do for someone who's inclined to do that? Imagine the output of that. But where this gets interesting is when we sort of think about it a little bit more coachy, and we think, well, what if I post, 15 very helpful post social? What if I conduct 3 sample sessions? What if I email 15 old friends and inquire about the challenges they're going through in their lives at this point? Or if I email 15 old friends and I remind them that I'm a coach and coaching is a referral business. And, you know, if there's anyone you know who you would like to do the great favor of recommending that they work with a coach, you know, let them know. Or let them know about me. So the theory, lagging versus leading, is that this is a new kind of activity type. They often appear too simple, but that's a-okay. Leading activities often come from brainstorms. You can use these yourself for your own personal practice. So many of us coaches are one-man shows, one-man businesses, so you can use this for yourself. With my clients, a lot of my business clients, it's not only one man. These can also be rolled out to a team. So you can go to a sales team or a creative team and you can say, okay, we need leading activities for this team or this fire department. What are they going to be? Well, let's all get all the firemen together, have a brainstorm and discuss what really matters, what we really need to achieve. Less fires, right? Or quicker response time or whatever. But getting to that, but we'll get to the goal in a second, but then identifying what actions drive that goal. So leading activities often appear too simple. I mean, these are very simple, right? Cook at home twice, but consider the goal of I need to lose 80 pounds, you know, or I need to lose 10 pounds, or I'm going to the beach in August. Well, instead of having a dispiriting, anxiety-provoking workout regimen goal that I'm going to miss or commitment that I'm going to miss, cook at home twice, you know, let's see where that gets us. So they often appear simple. That's okay. Leading activities often come from brainstorms. That's how you get them from your teams. If you can't, we're going to do some brainstorming today, but if you're having trouble identifying your business objective and the leading activities that'll drive that, invite a couple of your friends, take it to your mastermind. Say, hey, here's what I'm trying to do. What activities might drive that? Leading activities often start with verbs, which is great. And as we're trying to make this match to business objectives, we want to work with leading activities that drive a goal. They're not just good to-dos, right? And that may be one of the ones where plant 50 flowers, maybe that doesn't drive the goal unless the goal is to, I don't know, have a more beautiful, well, I mean, it could be a real estate goal, I guess, right? You need to beautify the front yard because you're going to sell the house. You know what I mean? Planting 50 flowers may be one of the things that serve the goal of how do we sell the house for more. So it ends here. Part one, sort of, we're concluding here. Leading activities, the key questions, here's how we sort of work through them. What problem do we want to solve? Identify it. What leading activities might solve it? Brainstorm and then identify. And then what amount of that do we need to do to actually achieve that business objective? So that then gets us to the construct of, I'm going to solve the problem by doing these leading activities this many times. I'm going to get more clients by doing sample sessions 4 times a week. Declarative statement, intention, accountability, right? How does this actually work at solving the business objective? Well, the idea is you just do the activity and let the results drive themselves. Right? This is like the old basketball analogy where it's like, if we just get really good about doing layups and, you know, 3-point shots and foul line shots and recovering the ball, if we focus on those 4 things, the scoreboard takes care of itself. Winning the championship takes care of itself if we just focus on these activities. So do the activities and let the results drive themselves. Take pleasure in the activity and then take pleasure in the outcome. And I'll pause here for thoughts and questions. The impact of having leading actions: predictable, influenceable, wildly different from the things you can't control, the rear view mirror stuff, the stuff that's behind us that we do, and then it just sort of, we have to assess it afterwards. So I ask, you know, how might actions, you know, developing a list of actions like this, how might it change your lifestyle? How might it change your stress levels? How might it change your sleep? I invite you to consider that. If we identify actions that lead to more clients, if we identify actions that lead to higher rates, more money in the bank, how would that change your lifestyle? You know, and also it brings the bigger thing of, well, is it possible for me to get what I need, achieve my objective, more clients, more money, higher rate? Is it possible to achieve that objective without doing all this stuff that so many people are telling me that I need to do as a coach, right? Like niche and social media market, and I don't know, have an elevator pitch and all that stuff. Is there something that I can do that I like doing, that I feel natural and authentic doing, that can drive the business success? When we connect the two, then we have activities that we enjoy doing that then lead to clients. I'll give a quick example for me, and then I'd like to hear if anyone else has any thoughts on this. I hated doing sample sessions. I hated doing sales calls. And also I felt like I wasn't doing enough coaching, right? So one thing that I did at an earlier stage in my career as a coach was anyone who wanted to work with me, they simply got 3 free sessions. That's it. And they were not pitches. They were not sample sessions. They were chemistry sessions. They were 3 sessions where we just start and we do the coaching. And at the end of that 3 sessions, actually at the end of the first session, I send you a proposal so you know what my rates are and how I work. And if at the end of those 3 sessions, if you want to join on, great, we continue. If you don't, then it's been great working with you and see you later. This freed me to do as much as I wanted to. I could go to anybody and say, hey, how would you like 3 free sessions? Hey, I'd love to work with you on that. How about we get together and just work on it? Free and easy to do. So much easier than asking to do a chemistry call or sample session. And I could give because I wasn't selling. I didn't have a script. I didn't spend the first 20 minutes talking about how I worked or what you'll get out of this. We just got into it, right? And they felt the value. Or some of them did. Not all of them did. Not all of them stayed, but a number of them did, which is great. And I got, and about half the people that I worked with wound up becoming real deal clients, which is like real deal, like full pay clients, which is great. I feel good about that. Now I'm going to be quiet and listen for comments.
Now I have an example. Because I remember when I started with the communication, going back to the communication that I was talking about, I remember that at the school, when I was doing my coaching school, everybody was talking a lot about how they were going to communicate around their business, like the social media they're going to have, the podcast they wanted to create, the books that they wanted to write, or like really, and it was very intimidating for me, and I felt really overwhelmed. And then I realized through coaching sessions that I could do the marketing or the communication the way I wanted and feel no pressure. Like for instance, Instagram, you feel that you have the pressure to post every day so that the algorithm sees you. So I disconnected myself from this pressure, and I was much more like, you know what, I'm going to do it the way I want. And if people are going to see it, fine. If they don't, I'm just putting this message outside and I do it the way I feel it. And if I want to show my face, I'll show it. And if I don't want to show my face, I'm not going to do it because the algorithm ask me to do it this way. So I did it my own way, and I feel really comfortable with it now. Before it was very much, I felt divided, like not knowing how I was supposed to do things, So doing it organically the way I wanted to do it felt much more aligned to me.
Excellent, thank you. And perfect example perfect example, Nada, of yes, identifying an activity that is a pleasure for you to do.
I can't hear you.
Oh,
we can hear you. I can hear you.
oh,
Yes, I can
okay.
hear you.
Okay. Well, I was just going to say to Nada, it's a great example of identifying an activity that you want to do, that you can do, and that comes easily to you. Shakti, thank you for that.
Thank you. What I'm hearing you say, and what I think I just heard Nada say too, is this is a lot about all of this goes back to doing something that you're connected to, doing it from your value, from your perspective and your values is always obviously going to have more meaning to you. I think that's what I heard you say, and you came up with the strategy of giving 3 free sessions, and you felt good about that. And that allows you to show up with an energy that people connect with, because they know when you're just following a script, that's someone else's script, people feel it. So I think what I'm hearing you say is find your thing, and you may need to go through some trials and errors to find your thing. Take that one step, try it. It may work, it may not work. You may want to shift. You may, right? You find your thing, and you do it with passion, and you put your energy into that, and something will come back from that. And I truly believe that. And in some of the things that I'm doing as I'm starting my coaching practice, I am, you know, offering mindfulness practices. You were there with me this morning. It's something that I do that I felt a personal connection to, and that that may or may not exactly get me, you know, this is not some kind of marketing scheme or anything like that, but something has come from it in a lot of different ways. And so I think that that's kind of what I'm hearing you say, and that's certainly what I'm experiencing, although I haven't built the empire that I would like to build, but I know it will happen, and I have to give it some time.
Thank you for that. And yes, that's exactly right, Shakti. And thank you for pointing that out. It's an important consideration. Yes, it connects back to things that we want to do, things that we can, I mean, we as coaches, we talk about it all the time, how important it is to lead with authenticity, lead with being real, lead with our hearts, you know. And so, yes, it is all that. The second part of the presentation, we'll get a little bit more into the accountability and the connection of the business objectives, which I think might help potentially answer the second half of that, which is I've got my actions, but my business has not thrived yet. It will. We're not there yet, but this may propel it. I should also say 2 things before we continue to the second part, which is this is not necessarily some theory that I baked up, you know, over there with a glass of wine. There's a couple of books that I'm going to cite at the end that are really the definitive, you know, sort of scrolls on this kind of thinking. And this kind of thinking, you see it all across corporate America. I mean, this is I'm looking at young faces. People probably don't remember when the Ford Motor Company had this motto. This has got to be 30 years ago. I'm so embarrassed, which was quality is job one. And this is a great example of that, where this was a time when Japanese automobiles were coming to, you know, foreign cars were just absolutely eating, you know, the American automakers' lunch. And there was this perception that American cars were really poorly built, low quality. So Ford aligned their whole company around this notion, this one concept of, quality is job one. And then led from there. So this idea of, you know, singular thought and singular actions, you know, if we just focus on tightening that bolt, that's the action. If we get this, you know, motor installed correctly and properly aligned to this transmission, if I just focus on that and get that action right, then the Ford Motor Company is going to be okay, right? So anyway, if anyone wants to take a screenshot, please, now's a good time to do it. What problem do you want to solve? What leading activities might solve it? And what amount of leading activities might solve it? Is there anything else anyone would like to comment on or inquire about before we step into the second part? Okay, so now that we're clear on the leading activities, let's go to the second part, which is the scorecards. Scorecards, simple accountability that promotes peace of mind through measures of what's truly important, right? So simple accountability, we all love that, right? Keep it simple. That promotes peace of mind, right? Through measures of what's important. The what's important is the amount of clients I have that are paying top rate, right? It's not important how many social media posts I really do, or it's not really important. So many of the things that people worry about in their businesses are not actually what's really important. What it really boils down to for us as coaches is having enough clients on our roster that are paying us a good enough rate that we can continue to be coaches, right? So that's what's important to me at times as a guy who's running a coaching business, and other people have other measures of what's important. There was I'll tell you a quick example, a business I was in, the one that drove me so insanely crazy that I was like, I've got to become a coach and help other people who are driven insanely crazy about their businesses, was a business that sold ice. We sold huge amounts of ice, 100,000 pounds of ice a day. And many of the people that we sold this ice to were lunch trucks. And at one point we had it on the wall where it's like, this business will be okay if we service 30 lunch trucks and we additionally sell 30,000 pounds of wholesale ice. And we sold those in 1,000-pound bags. So we had boiled the entire company down to two things, 30 lunch trucks and 15 bags. At that point, if we hit just that number, everything is going to be okay with this business. You know, that's what was important to us. You know, that's what needed to be important. So anyway, so scorecards, and we'll get into it in a second. Scorecards are a way of keeping track of those really big numbers, those important things that if we just hit these things, if we maintain just these, everything will be okay, right? The process is to figure out the scoring. We've got to figure out how we want to properly score our activities. We need to make sure that everyone knows the score. That means you, that means your virtual assistant. That means if you are working with, if you're applying this to a larger organization, that means everyone in the company, everyone on the teams, because people play differently when they are keeping score. And that's the important thing, right? You keeping score. The Great Game of Business, which is one of the books that I'll point you guys to later, talks about the example of a company where every person in every division has a number and they personally score that number. They keep track of it and they report it up. Not you being told, someone telling you what your score is, you actually keeping score, you know? We know this from setting goals with our clients, right? When you put a time limit on it, when you keep score, it changes the motivation, right? Now we're working towards something within parameters. But the important thing is that the scorecard, as you will see, is going to deliver safety in numbers, the business numbers. So many times business owners, there's so much to focus on. They have lost the simplicity, these simple things that if they just knew the numbers or were not scared of the numbers, they could find the peace of mind that they need to get to sleep. For that ice factory I was talking about, it was 30 lunch trucks and 15 bags a day, right? Those were my safety numbers. If I was hitting those consistently, then I could sleep. If I wasn't, which is what happened during the pandemic, then I couldn't sleep, right? You know where you stand. So you don't have to be in a perpetual state of freak out. You can know, hey, we're okay. Or we can know, even more importantly, hey, we're not okay. You know, because when that pandemic hit, and we went from 30 trucks down to 11 and went from 15 bags a day or from 30 bags a day down to below our safety threshold at 15, we got to figure some stuff out quick because we're in trouble. So you know when you're safe and you know when you're not. Here's a sample scorecard, right? Simple one. So here's 3 measures, okay? Plant flowers, or actions, right? Plant flowers, ride my bike 80 miles, and keep money in the bank. Who owns these? Well, me on all 3 counts. Now I have a target, right? 50 flowers, ride my bike 80 miles, the number there writes itself, and keep money in the bank. Well, how much money, right? $1,000. Okay. So at the end of last week, where were we at? So last week, you can see here, I planted 55 flowers, so that's green. I rode my bike 100 miles, which is 20 in excess, so that's green. And money in the bank, 1,200. How am I going to sleep? Right? Pretty good, because these are the things that I've determined that are going to fix my life. The flowers make me happy. The bike keeps me exercised and fit, and the money keeps me, solid. So with these 3 things satisfied, I feel fully content to watch a little Netflix and go to sleep. But look at the previous weeks. 42, not enough flowers. 70, not enough miles. 800, not enough money in the bank. Okay, so what do? Let's not get upset here. Let's just take it for what it is. Neither good nor bad. Checking time. Neither good nor bad, but let's fix it. 800 is clearly not 1,000. So what do I need to do to get back to that safety zone? And you can see the numbers will go up and down as you keep track. The way that this scorecard works is every week you just go to that result last week column and you create a new column before it in Excel, and so you can historically go back and look at this data. Before that, we were at 41 flowers. Now we're at 42. Now we're at 55. Things are trending in the right direction. 75 on the miles, and 70, a bit of a dip, but we brought it back to 100. So we're good. And then the money, I don't know. Look, we see a fluctuation. It was 1,100. Now it's 800. Now it's 1,200. That's maybe natural. So maybe I'm not too freaked out about that. But if it goes, 1,100, 800, 1,200, 200, that could indicate a problem, right? But the important thing here is that we know where we stand because we know what's important and we know how it's working. So when it comes to doing this for yourself, you have to ask the question, what are the 3 to 5 things that if you didn't worry about, you would sleep well at night? Because these are the things that need to go on the scorecard. The activities relating to these are the things that need to go on the scorecard. And what's likely going to go on the scorecard is actually a mix of leading activities and metrics, which we just talked about, and some of the old-fashioned lagging metrics. And these should encompass your business goals. 2 notes. Keep it simple, stupid, KISS, right? Let the data analysis happen elsewhere. Let's keep this simple. When it comes to the scorecard, don't make your scorecards too complicated. And think of that middle of the night scenario. What's really keeping me up? Or metaphorically speaking, what is it that is cycling in my head that I need to get out of my head? What do I need to commit to paper and get solved so that I don't go broke? What are the things that are really there? So the goal goes on the scorecard. And then the leading measures, the lagging measures, and the acceptable ranges. The goal, remember, is in this instance is a person, place, or thing, a point somewhere, a point at which I have no problems. I have no concerns. I've got 30 trucks, 15 orders, everything will be okay. So what's on your scorecard? I mean, here's another example of it. Goal, coach business success, a mix of leading and lagging measures and acceptable ranges, and also the why and the emotional output, right? So I want a successful coaching business. So 3 measures I've came up with on this is sample sessions per week. I would like to do 6 sample sessions a week. Why? Because that will likely lead to 2 more clients a month, right? And I think we can see that happens. If we did 6 sample sessions a week, we would likely bag at least 2 clients a month, right? Knowing I'm going to do this emotionally, this makes me feel in control. I'm running my business. You know what I mean? I'm doing what needs to happen to grow my practice. Also important to me is the bank balance, right? Because Florida, it's not cheap and the rents are not getting cheaper. So, bank balance, never less than $10,000. Made up number, right? I just round number. But the point is we all have what that number is, right? And why did I pick 10,000? Not because it just feels good, but because $10,000 theoretically, in this case, is enough that if things go wrong, I've got enough time, I've got enough money to fix things, right? Financial planners say you should have 6 months of savings in the bank in case you lose your job or whatever. So whatever it is, but in this case, this is why I want to have money in the bank, because if I lose all my clients at once or another pandemic happens, I've got time to fix things. Emotionally, it makes me feel solid and safe. And then client sessions per week. I want to have 16 client sessions per week because I want to feel that I'm working at my optimal level, not thinking all the time, gee, should I be doing more sessions a week or should I be doing less sessions a week? Am I working too much? Or what is it that really works for me? What do I want to be working at? And I don't want to be second guessing myself. I should have more clients. I'm working too hard. 16 is what I want. It's optimal. So it feels optimal. We can measure that. And how do you drive 16? Well, following up with your clients and making sure they're booking sessions and having enough clients, et cetera. This is a little bit more complicated version of it. This is a sort of a corporate one, and it measures the business on 4 key dynamics. And I will give everyone a link to this at the end. Actually, I should do it. Well, it'll be at the end. Sales, which is so critical to all businesses, right? And you can see here we've got a nice mix of lagging and leading. Indicators, right? Total revenue, lagging, looking behind, how much money have we made, right? Leading, how many sample sessions am I doing? How many sample sessions am I doing? Referral asks, how many people am I asking for referrals? That was on my list too at one point, to build the clientele. I need to be proactively asking people for referrals, So how many referrals, Eric? Do you just think it's a good idea to just generally ask people for referrals? Well, no. In fact, I think I'm going to need to put a target on it, 3, and I'm going to need to keep track of it. Look down the road, I can measure this effectiveness, Well, the referrals aren't really leading to any clients. Well, guess what? That's because you haven't been asking for the referrals, right? You see how this works. And then sessions in total. But then, so that's the sales. That's our client acquisition, right? Finances. That's how much money do we have, right? Which I know is so important to everyone in the world, not just us. Client satisfaction score. Look, the operations category, what's in that? I thought this would be a great one, have my clients fill out surveys, right? Average them up. See if I can get my clients to, on a scale of 1 to 10, rate their experience with me 8 or better, because it's all in the service of keeping my clients, right? And then culture. Employee happiness score. Well, there's only one employee, that's me, right? But why not, right? Why not ask myself, I want my happiness to be at an 8. And I'm going to assess that every week, and I'm going to track that. See what's up with that. And if it's 4, as it was way back in February, then I'm going to change that. I'm going to ask myself, I'm going to do inquiry. I'm going to find out what's wrong. Why am I not happy? And what can I change? Right. And then this is a leftover, which I love. This is from when I was going after my credential, and I needed to, grab all these CCEUs to fill that requirement. So 1.5 CCEUs per week. Right. And Jimmy and his master classes were absolutely instrumental in that. So wrapping it up, what dimensions of your business need to change? What activities would drive that change? What scorekeeping will keep you accountable? And I put on here, this is literally whiteboard heaven. If you have a whiteboard, if you're one of those people who likes just getting things out, and sketching it out and figuring it out, this is good stuff to be working with. The other thing I want to point out here, though, is getting back to this other concept of we can stop worrying about why or how, right? Like nobody here, the goal is not to attend Jimmy's master classes every week, right? The goal here is to somehow cook up a certain amount of CCEUs, right? And now I'm free to sort of figure out how to do that, so it inspires creativity too. Let me just grab this link right now, put it in the chat so everyone's got it. That same spreadsheet is available to everybody. So you guys can make a duplicate and play with it yourself if you want to. My numbers are still in there, or my sample numbers, to sort of keep you in mind. These are the 2 books that go deep into this: 4 Disciplines of Execution and The Great Game of Business. Both of these books are nearly 30 or 40 years old at this point. So like I said, this has been very, and they're still bestsellers. So this thinking still persists.
Thank you very much. It's amazing.
Eric?
The numbers and organizing our coach mind in a completely different perspective. We have a few minutes for questions.
Yes, I think the link for some reason is not working. It says that it doesn't exist.
Yeah, that I think I can see in there that it didn't copy into the thing correctly. So here, as we're talking, I'll go ahead and just redo the link here. It's got a space in it. That's the problem. Thank you for that. What else is triggering for you guys?
I love the part that we should be looking at what didn't go well or what went wrong in a way, and just keep moving forward.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Thank you. That was very useful. I took notes.
Excellent. Any other?
Yeah, I was going to say.
Wanted to mention that.
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, Chad.
I wanted to mention very thought-provoking presentation, by the way, Eric. And yes, I'm excellent on the admin side. When I say excellent, I blow the on admin. But when it comes to the sales and marketing, that's my area now that I really need to delve into, rather than waiting on referrals now, because I'm focusing more on the business. So I need to be pushing on that. You did say that at the outset when you started, you reached out to clients, potential clients, and you offered 3 free coaching sessions.
Let's just do it. Yeah.
Right. So you did 3. Isn't 3 a little bit much? I was thinking of 1 to 2.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. I thought 3 was interesting. 3 worked for me because at the time I was working with something else, which was, if you recall, I also had that other metric, which was amount of sessions I was doing this week. As a coach who was learning and transitioning into coaching, I thought that it would be optimal and beneficial for me to do more rather than less. So that's why I got to 3. Also, 3 is a nice number. Start, middle, end, get to know someone. Thank you for that
And I
question,
guess
Shelley.
they won't feel like you're pushing them, right? Like you're overselling them.
Yeah, no, I just refuse to, or I mean, not refuse to, but just, selling by script is not natural to me, but helping someone with their problems is. So it became very easy.
Okay, I got that. So I'm doing like a Mother's Day push. I'm gifting a 30-minute coaching session to friends of friends. So that's my gift to them. That's what I decided to do. And it seemed to be going well. People have been responding. Could ramp up a little bit more, but I've been giving away that 30-minute coaching. Nothing can be done in 30 minutes. That's the reason why it stood out for me when you said it's just an introduction that can be done in 30 minutes.